The Birthday Gift by Betty Collier, narrated by Sarah Harrison. Chapter 1, Black and Blue. Mrs. Williams, I regret to inform you that your husband was found. The next thing I remember hearing is code blue, even though it was now pitch black outside my ICU window at Cedars-Sinai Hospital. I don't know what happened next on that beautiful sunny morning after I opened my front door for the police officer. He was standing there in the last ray of sunshine I would see for quite some time. I guess I could look at the police report or medical records, but what's the point? I really don't want to be reminded of the single most horrific day of my entire life. What happened? Why was the police officer talking in slow motion? Was that simply my mind abruptly coming to a halt because I could not bear to hear the next words coming out of his mouth? I knew for a fact my heart broke into 1,000 little pieces. So I guess that explains the code blue. My heart had stopped beating. Heart attack. When one's heart attacks its own body because the heart has been shattered. That's according to me, not the American Medical Association. When a police officer knocks on your door and regrets to inform you of anything, that only means one thing. One gut-wrenching, unimaginable thing. I had been married to that man for 22 blissful years, and there was no way it was all coming to a catastrophic end like that. We had plans. We had a whole lot of plans. We still had so much life to live, and of course we were going to grow old together. Our daughter's sweet 16 birthday party was only 2 weeks away. As a matter of fact, I had planned to call the caterer to finalize a head count for a party before I left for the airport to pick up Bill. His plane was due to arrive at LAX later that evening. Bill had just called me less than 24 hours prior to that knock on the door when he was on his way to the airport. He was giddy. He told me that he had found the perfect present for Bella on his last day in Tel Aviv at the Jaffa flea market. Bella was Daddy's girl, and needless to say, the benefactor of various quaint souvenirs he always seemed to find, no matter where his research took him. It was surely going to be a spectacular Sweet 16 surprise that I couldn't wait to see. He even hinted that it was something that would change her life forever. Yes, I must admit that I, too, was a very happy recipient of sentimental and oftentimes breathtaking gifts from around the world. We were his girls. There was absolutely no way he was not coming back home to us. No way. He had been in Israel for 33 days. It was time for him to come back home. I had been expecting a phone call from Bill during his 4-hour layover in Heathrow, and instead of Bill's much anticipated call, I got that abominable knock at my front door. Then I heard it again. Code blue. Everything went black. As I reflect on that disastrous day, everything already black. The world had gone dark and void. From what I've been told, I woke up the following morning with no recollection of the previous day. Apparently, I had a heart attack on my front porch after hearing the mind-numbing news the policeman had come to tell me. Apparently, I had another heart attack in the emergency room and a third one shortly after being transported to ICU. And sadly, apparently those words my ears had refused to allow my mind to process were no less true just because I refused to hear them, let alone accept them. My heart was broken. I was broken. Life as I once knew it no longer existed. There was no reason to go to the airport. Bill had never boarded his connecting flight in London. The only thing at the airport now was his luggage, and there certainly wasn't any reason for me to go claim that. Well, no reason that I knew of at the time. Had it not been for the birthday girl and the birthday gift, there really would not have been a reason for me to ever wake up again. I had no inkling that the gift of life was literally waiting for me at Virgin Atlantic. All I had to do was go claim it. Chapter 2, A Broken Heart. Mrs. Williams, there doesn't appear to be any permanent damage from your stress cardiomyopathy. I remember the day after the calamity very well. Dr. Morgan came by my room early that Thursday morning and pulled up a chair. He told me that Bella and my mother had spent the night in the waiting room, and they were very anxious to see me again. He wanted to explain a few things before they came in, though. He asked me what I remembered from the day before. Unfortunately, I somberly remembered the one thing I had tried so terribly hard not to hear. I couldn't bring myself to utter the words. I simply responded, "I remember what the police officer said." With every ounce of my being, I wanted that conversation to end. I desperately wanted to rewind the clock just a mere 24 hours. But alas, that was not meant to be. I had to face the reality that I could not let my precious Bella think for one more minute that she may lose both her parents. Dr. Morgan said that before he allowed my family to come in, he wanted to be sure I understood what happened. He assured me that I had not technically had a heart attack after all. What I had was broken heart syndrome, caused by the tremendous emotional stress I felt when the police officer began speaking the unspeakable. The devastating news had instantly and severely weakened my heart muscles. In that delicately weakened state, stress cardiomyopathy ensued. Now I understand how someone can die from a broken heart. Because the symptoms of stress cardiomyopathy can mimic a heart attack, they had to rule out that I had not indeed had a heart attack. Dr. Morgan was sure because they had run all the tests the day before. I just don't remember any of that. He assured me that I had no blockage in my heart. My coronary arteries and cells in my heart were undamaged and completely normal. Although I felt like I had left my shattered heart on my front porch. The good news was that my heart would be just fine. I had no permanent damage, not physically anyway. Dr. Morgan said I should be back to normal within a couple weeks. Normal? Returning to normal was obviously never going to happen. Nonetheless, knowing what actually happened helped me prepare to see Bella. I assume I won't ever remember the events of that ill-fated Wednesday. At this point, it really is irrelevant anyway. What was important at the moment was the fact that my daughter would be walking into my room momentarily. It was up to me to reassure her that everything was going to be okay, even if I didn't believe it myself. As Dr. Morgan was getting up from his chair, he told me how special Bella was. I didn't even remember seeing her on Wednesday. Apparently, she'd spent the day by my bedside, holding my hand when they weren't running tests. She told the ICU nurse she had to stay with me because she knew I would be afraid if I woke up and couldn't feel her father holding my hand. She knew I would always be able to feel Bill's presence through her. A couple of minutes later, There she was. Bella came in alone because my mother was talking to the police who just arrived after Dr. Morgan had left my room. "Hi, Mom." That's all it took. I broke down. I broke all the way down. The floodgates opened, and there was no way to hold back the tears. Fortunately, the heart monitor alarm didn't go off, and no hospital staff came rushing in. It was just the two of us on the other side of the breached levee. Grief flooded the room, and we held hands. It was the only way we could save ourselves. Chapter 3. The Mother-Daughter Talk. "Mrs. Williams, since you're doing so much better, we'll be transferring you to a regular room around lunchtime. If all goes well overnight, Dr. Morgan will probably let you go home tomorrow." Home? Tomorrow? I didn't want to go home and face the reality that my beloved Bill was never coming home again. And my mother walked in, appearing to be carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. She said Bella had finally drifted off to sleep in a recliner in the waiting room. Mom was very worried about both of us, but at this point, she felt like she had to go ahead and tell me. Tell me what? I couldn't handle another talk right then. It seemed it was only minutes ago that Bella and I shed enough tears to die of dehydration. Whatever it was that Mom wanted to talk about would have to wait until the next day. Dad would be home by then, and maybe there would be no need for her to tell me anything. Maybe the two of them could talk about whatever it was. My father was finishing up some business in New York as part of his retirement plans the following year. It was nice that he was actually going to retire at a decent age while he was still in good health. My parents would be able to start a new chapter in their lives at age 65. They were fortunate enough to be growing old together, just like Bill and I thought we would. So instead of having the talk, I asked Mom how things were going in New York. I figured that would get her mind off of what she really wanted to talk to me about. And quite naturally, she took the bait and began telling me all about Dad's retirement plans. I must admit, I wasn't really listening. Well, I guess I was listening. I just didn't hear most of what she was saying. However, I saw her face light up when she said they would be able to buy that condo in New York. For selfish reasons, I asked if they were keeping the house in Laguna Niguel, too. I didn't think they would ever consider moving from sunny Southern California to the Big Apple and leave their only grandchild 2,800 miles behind. They were surely going to rack up those frequent flyer miles. Mom continued talking, and I pretended to listen. Anything was better than having a real conversation right then. I was okay, as long as I knew Bella was getting a much-needed nap, and Dad would be coming home sooner than he had planned. That was actually all my mind could process right then. About that time, the nurse walked in. She disconnected me from the heart monitor and said they would be moving me in time to have lunch in my new room upstairs. Now that I think about it, that was probably going to be the first meal I would have eaten in 2 days, if I had eaten it. The new room was nice. Mom and Bella came with me and made themselves comfortable on the sofa in the corner of my room. I told them I was fine and that they should go home and get some rest. I felt better just being out of ICU. I didn't want to see or hear anyone respond to another code blue. This floor was quiet. There were no alarms going off all the time. Plus, I had a real door that actually closed. It felt good to have some privacy. I turned on the TV looking for a distraction. Mom asked Bella if she would go get her a Frappuccino from that little coffee shop across campus over by the medical offices. Cedars-Sinai is a huge medical center, so I knew Mom was trying to get her out of the room for a while. As soon as Bella left, my mother said she really needed to talk to me about what Cal told her. Cal had been with Bill for the past month in Tel Aviv, filming for the documentary. I assumed he was still settling it at home with his wife and children and simply had not had the time to call me yet. Maybe he felt bad he didn't know what to say, knowing he had made it back home safely, but without my Bill. Boy, was I wrong.